All right, let's get started here. How are we doing, Instagram? Another episode here of One Horse Town. We're gonna get started. We haven't started recording here yet, but we're about to. All right, let's get started. So, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of One Horse Town podcast with myself, Mr. Jaime V, aka the real Mr. Jaime. Today, I want to talk about film and how it started for me at an early age. I didn't know I was always going to be a filmmaker, of course, not until my sophomore year, but I realized looking back that I really had a true passion for film all along, for movies. Like literally since I was born till maybe like I was 4 years old. I know that my parents would put on Winnie the Pooh. That was always a big thing, as well as Mickey Mouse. They had like their own little movies. Different scenarios would play out, and that was like the early stuff of my movie passion. And then I guess like around kindergarten, like when I was 5 or 6 years old, I remember watching Jurassic Park and also The Mummy, and those two movies were like my favorite movies of all time, because I remember during like recess in kindergarten, me and my friends would either play Jurassic Park or The Mummy or something else. I can't remember. But we'd pretend we were dinosaurs, screech, chase each other, shoot each other. The Mummy was fun too, but there was another game I cannot remember. And another thing that came up while I was thinking about this, about, those early films I was watching, I remember Star Wars, the original trilogy, was a big thing too, because we had like a special edition VHS, like the original, I suppose, or maybe it was just a special edition, like the 90s that came out. It was like a black and gold box with Vader on it. I think that's what I remember. But that's what's one thing I remember watching a lot. We had a lot of different movies, but I remember growing up, there were some movies I wasn't allowed to watch because, of course, they were inappropriate. And I don't know if I ever saw any of those movies later. And then another thing that came to mind while thinking about this is a big influence of movies on me was really during like these summers in between elementary school, going to my great grandmother's house, and me and my cousins would spend like almost every day there during the summer while our parents were at work, and we would go through my Tio Juan's movie collection. We'd go into his room, and he had a bunch of DVDs, a bunch of VHSs. I think they had a VHS, and I can't be certain about that, but DVDs for sure. And I remember we would just go in his room and look through all the DVDs and pick one that we haven't seen before. I can't recall all of them, but some of them come to mind, which would be like Bring It On was a big one that we would see again and again. That was a movie I really liked watching. We'd watch it so many times that we would know the words by now. Clueless was a big one too. Jeepers Creepers. There was so many movies. Like it's one of those things where like you know this memory, you remember being there, but the details are a little fuzzy. But we really spent most of our summers just watching movies all day. And I think my cousins who were spending time with me there, most of them were older than me, and I feel like they had a big influence on which movies we picked. I wasn't really I wasn't a kid who was probably really into like, oh yeah, I'm into movies. I wasn't aware of that. I didn't go out of my way to say, hey, I want to see that movie. Not that I can recall. Maybe the adults in my life might have a different point of view or perspective of that. But I think most of my young life I just spent in front of the television watching movies. But what's I don't want to give that a bad connotation, but what I'm trying to say is that I think, film and movies, they paint a picture of what life could look like if you make certain choices, or if you go into a certain field, or if you end up in a certain relationship or a situation. It was fascinating. I was really learning about the world through movies and how things kind of happen and how people act socially or within relationships or friendships, different jobs, different places, different ways of living. I always found movies very, very interesting because it was kind of like an inside look or even like a bigger scope of life. That there are a lot of different stories that can be told, and there's a lot of people out there who have special circumstances or have been through, special things as well that other people may have not been able to experience or will never experience. But you can better understand where people are coming from when you see their story being told on the big screen. Like for example, right now more than ever, there's a lot of black films being promoted, I suppose. Some films that are very powerful and tell the story of a black person that haven't been told before or have been suppressed in the past. Like for example, there was Fruitvale Station was a film I was thinking about recently that I think should have had a bigger impact when it first came out, and I'm sure it did. It had a huge impact, but not as big as we wanted it to be. And I think right now it has it has a lot of light shining on it and other films as well. And there was one film that's coming out I think pretty soon. Beyonce's it's like a movie, like a music video movie. I'm not really certain what it is, but it will be on Disney Plus. That looks pretty interesting as well. But I guess overall is that film, moving pictures they're very powerful, and I think we need to start watching more of them. And different types of movies, not just what we're comfortable with, but I think we need to challenge ourselves, a little more with what we watch and what we talk about, after watching the film, and thinking about different ideas overall, and just trying to get out of your comfort zone with what you're watching. Try new things and take some recommendations. And then when someone recommends a movie, like really go out of your way and watch. Like, okay, yeah, no, I will, because I'm sure there's it has magic. There's a magic when you watch a movie. Like after you watch a movie and you actually learn something new or see a different perspective, don't you feel better? Like really good? Like, oh, you know what? Yeah, that was, and your brain starts moving, and you start talking, you start asking questions, and you start questioning life and the world, and you're like, hey, yeah, you know what? There's something else going on here. So I don't know. I'm giving you my 2 cents right now. I'm going to try to wrap this up pretty quickly right now because we're coming up on 9 minutes. But that's my thought, I guess, on film and my early years of film. This was kind of a rant as well. I'm trying to get a little bit more comfortable talking in these podcasts. This is the One Horse Town podcast, so it'll just be me here talking about a numerous amount of things, mostly my passions. We'll get more into film in later episodes, I hope. But thank you for listening and for watching, those of you over here and those of you over here. yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up. So I'll see you guys on the next episode of One Horse Town. We will talk about some more stuff. Please like or comment. I want to get your opinion on this, and if you like it or not, because I think I really want to know what you guys think. So thank you again. You guys take care. I am out of here.